Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, so this is the time where I do a Q&A with the channel members. So big up to each and every one of you who are channel members, and of course big up to all of you who watch the videos and that anyway. If you're not a channel member and you wish to be so, there's a link in the description box of this video and all videos. So go give it a look and decide whether or not you want to have your name at the beginning of the videos in the credits and do this Q&A and that with me. Now, there's quite a few questions here, and one of them, of course, I did pull out and do a separate video, which is a video before this one. So if you haven't seen it, go give it a watch, which was from Nathan Kerr, which was, would I ever see myself working in the boxing industry? Now, I'm going to do these ones as quickly as possible because there are quite a few questions. Of course, not all channel members have asked a question. Just because you've got that perk doesn't mean you have to use it. Of course not. And either way, I appreciate all the questions. So we're going to start off with Rico Sidat. I hope you are well, my man. Sporting Icons, hope you and the family are well. That's it, and the same to you. You reckon Dillian Whyte will finally sue the WBC, and you see Wilder questioning Iron Mike's resume. So I'm going to do the Iron Mike resume bit in a little bit, because somebody else has asked that question as a solo. So I'm going to answer the Dillian Whyte, will he finally sue the WBC? If he doesn't get his world title shot by February, if they start messing about due to the whole situation out in the world, maybe Fury Wilder will take a little bit longer to get over the line than what they would ideally like to get on. Yes, I can see Dillian Whyte suing them. Really, I can. I think he's had enough now. But of course, first things first, he's got to get past Povetkin. That ain't no given. So first things first, I hope that's what he's concentrating on first and foremost. And if there is any kind of banana skin there, hopefully he's got a rematch clause in there, right? So either way, yes, I do see him suing the WBC if he doesn't get his world title shot in February. And even if Fury does beat Wilder, or, well, regardless of the winner of that fight, Dillian Whyte wants the winner, and he's not interested in sitting back and watching Fury and Joshua, for example, for Undisputed. It's not his problem, is it, as to who's fighting for Undisputed. He wants his world title shot. Simple as that. Or maybe he'll take some step aside and then go fight the winner for Undisputed. I don't know. But I can certainly see him suing them if he doesn't get his world title shot soon. That is for sure. So big up to you for that question. Guy Fawkes, big up to you. Who do you think will be the next Undisputed champion? You mean at heavyweight? Or, I think the next Undisputed champion overall will be between Taylor and Ramirez. I honestly think that them two will fight very soon. I think, going by the Bob Arum interview that I've done a few days ago, if you haven't seen it, go check him out. He was speaking about that, where he wants to prioritise all Undisputed before mandatories, before voluntaries, before anything. But he's willing to have Josh Taylor and Ramirez have, say, a bit of a tune-up fight or fight in a mandatory now, just to get back into it, and then go for Undisputed. So going by what he's saying, I think Taylor versus Ramirez will be the Undisputed championship. That's what I honestly see. I don't see Errol Spence Jr., Manny Pacquiao, Terence Crawford all fighting each other. Honestly, I don't see that one. Potentially we could see a Fury Joshua. That could happen for sure. So we'll see whoever the winner of that one is. And to be honest, I couldn't pick a winner between them two right now. Honestly, I couldn't. But either way, I think Josh Taylor and Ramirez, that will be the next Undisputed champion. So again, big up to your question. Aaron King, big up to you. What do you think Deontay's chances are against Fury third time round? Do you think Wilder will show any mental effects or nerves from his beating in the second fight when he climbs in again? He can't do much worse, can he? Because that second one was just a one-sided beatdown. So he will have improvements. Quite what improvements there will be, I don't know. I think that he will work on some things in training rather than just rely on that big punch. But with all the excuses that we're hearing around, if he's buying into the excuses, or if he's coming out with the excuses, so that he believes a member of Team Fury spiked his water or Fury had loaded gloves, if he's going to concentrate his efforts on all that kind of situation and make sure that his water's okay and make sure Fury's got nothing in his gloves, and then he's going to think, okay, I'll have a good chance now, then he's going to get battered again, isn't he? But the mental side of it, I think it's hard. He may go in there quite nervous, In the first couple of rounds, he may think, you know what, isn't too bad, we're in a fight, and all that kind of mental and nervousness will go out the window. But when he's trying new things for the first couple of rounds, if they're not going to work and Fury's still getting the better of him, then he will revert to type and try and land that one big punch, and Fury will take him out. But I think mentally, he has shown mental instability or mental weaknesses in the past, especially when it comes around to Fury, where he just absolutely outdone him in the press conferences and what have you. And other fighters have done that as well. Artur Szpilka, he did that with Wilder for a little while. So he's not the most mentally strong person in the world, but after taking a loss, after everything that he said about Anthony Joshua, laughing and mocking and this, that and the other, he's going to have a look at himself in the mirror. But can he beat Tyson Fury? If he lands that big punch, sure. But is it likely? I don't know, it's difficult to say, but for me, I would heavily favour Tyson Fury in that third fight. LJ Mack, big up to you. What's your thoughts on Wilder ripping Iron Mike Tyson? So there you go. That was the opening question there from Rico Sidat as well. So on this one, I have seen it, and I've seen other people going in on Deontay Wilder and that for it. And the reason why I didn't do it is because I knew Wilder ripping into Mike Tyson's resume was a couple of years ago. He did that a couple of years ago. It's just been reposted. So it wasn't something new. And even back then I thought, I mean, it's pot and kettle, isn't it? I mean, Wilder's resume is weak. It's really, really weak. He's got a lot of victories on there, but against who? He hasn't beaten anybody that the average heavyweight wouldn't beat themselves. He hasn't. Lucic, Whyte, Fury, Joshua, Chisora, etc. would beat all of Deontay Wilder's resume, with the exception of Fury and that, of course. So him ripping into Mike Tyson's resume, well, Mike Tyson has a fantastic resume. I mean, it's not as good as some people would like to put it out there with, but at least Mike Tyson, he did fight the best. He at least tried, even though that he failed in against Holyfield and Lennox Lewis and what have you. At least he tried, which is more than what Deontay Wilder has. So a bit two-faced of him, really, isn't it? Nick Harmer, big up to you. What's your current top 10 pound-for-pound list, Icons? Bless up. Bless up to you too. It's a difficult one because I don't really engage in pound-for-pound. It's not something I ever think about. I mean, I know it's difficult. I mean, I'll probably end up putting... I mean, you can put them in any kind of order you like, but maybe 1, 2, and 3 will probably be Canelo, Crawford, and Lomachenko. You can mix them around a bit in that if you want, and I'm cool with that. I'll probably follow up with, say, Noah Nue. What he's doing is fantastic. A two-weight world champion. Is he two-weight? I believe he's two-weight world champion. Fantastic fighter, by the way. Estrada as well. I think what he's doing is and what he's done is absolutely fantastic. And I'm hearing that he could be fighting Chocolatito against it as well. So that'd be an interesting one. I think Pacquiao, on his overall resume, will be in there. Arguably number 1, right? If we were to look at his total resume and the fact that he has stepped up, even the losses that he's taken, he has stepped up. But he's got some fantastic victories, and even now at his ripe old age, he's still putting in great performances. Wins over Adrian Broner. You know, wins over Keith Thurman and that. So he's showing that he's still got it. So I'll put Pacquiao in the top 10. Triple G in that as well. I know a lot of people tend to criticise Triple G. Over his last couple of opponents, or his last opponent and his next one, which is mandatory, which I can't remember his name. Not ideal. Not ideal. And of course, he doesn't always fight the kind of fighters that we want him to fight, but he's still fighting some very good fighters. People believe that he even beat Canelo the first time around. I do. Second time around, very, very close. Again, a lot of people have Canelo and winning that one. A lot of people have Triple G winning that one. So, I mean, with a victory over Daniel Jacobs and all these other kind of ones, I would personally have Triple G in there. Or the ice cream truck just come around there. Probably selling drugs. Yeah, so I'll probably have Triple G in there. Mikey Garcia, I know he lost to Errol Spence Jr. and I wouldn't have Errol Spence Jr. in the top 10. I really wouldn't. But Mike Garcia, even though he lost to Errol Spence, again, he was kind of like, well, you may argue that he got moved up a bit too much in weight, but his overall resume, the fact that he's a multi-weight world champion, I'll still have Mikey Garcia in there and not an Errol Spence, because Errol Spence, because he beat Mike Garcia at a higher weight, doesn't mean you get all of Mikey Garcia's scalps from the past. That's my thoughts. And I'll probably put Josh Taylor in there in the top 10 and maybe finish up with a Billy Joe Saunders, who in my opinion, his resume gets overlooked. Okay, he's got some pretty poor opposition on there as well, but he's got some pretty good ones. Let's be honest, you know, John Ryder, Chris Eubank Jr., Gary Spike O'Sullivan, David Lemieux, William Monroe, and a few others. Nick Blackwell and that as well. So Billy Joe Saunders has a very, very good resume, and of course a two-time world champion and still undefeated. And no, I wouldn't put a heavyweight on my personal pound-for-pound rankings. I know a lot of people would nowadays, but for me, I don't put heavyweights on there. It defeats the whole purpose of a pound-for-pound. But anyway, that's mine. Toby Plays, big up to you. How did you and Dillian become friends? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say we're friends as such, as in, you know, we don't go around each other's house and have dinner and everything, but I mean, he's helped me out. He was the one who gave me a huge, huge boost here on the channel, and of course, he's featured more than any other fighter. No, actually, I think April Hunter's actually just overtook him now with the amount of interviews I've had with fighters. But Dillian, he's a real good guy. You know, we speak a fair bit. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in the last few weeks, but we usually speak quite a bit. You know, he'll call up, you know, just to ask how I am, and, you know, we'll have a chat about families and all that kind of stuff. He's a really good, nice guy. But you see, he's opened up a lot of doors for me in that as well. And a lot of the interviews that I've had since Dillian Whyte and what have you is because of the Dillian Whyte interviews, because I speak with him quite regularly, people know about it, then I will get approached to do other interviews with other people and that. So Dillian, yes, he's, I do consider him a friend. I mean, we're not close friends or anything like that. You know, as I said, we don't go around for Sunday dinner. We don't go out boozing and getting drunk and chasing chicks and all that kind of thing. But yeah, he's a real good guy, a really, really good guy. And a lot of it started off when I started my channel three and a half years ago. And he was the very first person within the boxing industry to reach out to me and chat to me and give me his time and everything. So that's pretty much where it started from. And I think he likes me. I'm pretty sure he likes me. If he didn't, he wouldn't have featured on my channel quite a lot, would he? But I like Dillian Whyte. He's a very, very real person, real nice person as well. You see, I see sides to Dillian Whyte that other people don't see, that they didn't really show on camera. He's a very, very good-hearted person. Very, very nice guy. P Boxing, big up. Did Dillian Whyte duck AJ last year? The simple answer is no, of course not. The other answer is, should he have took it? In hindsight, maybe, sure. But Dillian, he believes in himself. Okay, he believes that he will get the WBC World Heavyweight title, and then he's going to get that rematch with Joshua, where he's going to be pretty much writing his own check. He isn't going to take a 5 million. While 5 million was a great opportunity, and of course it was for all the belts. But Dillian Whyte, he was looking at it like, but you are offering more money to other people. Again, for those of you who see or have watched all my Dillian Whyte interviews, around that time, before Joshua and Miller was even announced, Dillian Whyte said to me months beforehand, or a couple months beforehand, they don't want to fight me. It ain't me they're looking to do. Eddie Hearn wants to take Joshua to America, and Big Baby Jarrell Miller will be his opponent. Dillian Whyte made that prediction a long time before it happened. This is when Joshua was negotiating with Wilder and this, that, and the other. And then a little bit later on, negotiating with Dillian Whyte. And then, of course, Miller popped up. Then, of course, that fell through. Then got Andy Ruiz Jr. And, of course, he even offered Luis Ortiz 7 million as well. But the kind of money that they offered Dillian Whyte, you have to remember, he's a pay-per-view fighter. And him fighting in the UK, especially for a world title at Wembley Stadium, 90,000 people, he saw his value, his percentage within that fight a lot more than just the 5 million. If you look at it, how much Joshua would have got paid, it's probably not even well, maybe 10%, at push 20%. So Dillian, he rates himself a lot higher. And he even said at that time that if he was to fight, say, Joshua, and he was a mandatory for one of the other belts, then he would get a minimum 25% or 30%, or maybe 35% if he was WBO. So, which was a lot more than what they were offering him. And even Eddie Hearn said at the time to AJ, and Eddie Hearn said this openly himself, Dillian Whyte ain't going to take that kind of offer. I'm telling you, he ain't going to take that kind of offer. He's going to feel lowballed. So, no. Did Dillian Whyte duck him? No. Should he have taken the fight? Maybe, in some ways. I mean, with all the messing about WBC's been doing, sure, why not? and of course for revenge as well. But as I said, he's always wanted to go get that WBC belt. That's always been his aim. That's why he's been paying the sanction fees, and that's why he's still staying loyal to them, because he wants to get that WBC belt. Then he wants to go to the Joshua table and say, right, you offered Deontay Wilder 50-50. You offered Tyson Fury 50-50. Now I'm a champion. Let's talk 50-50. It's a risk, it's a gamble, but it's one that he's prepared to go through himself. And even if he fails and doesn't get there, well, at least he believed in himself and he followed his own thoughts. So no, I don't believe he ducked him. Jason Murr, big up to you. What do you think of the joke fight that's being rumoured with Mike Tyson and Tyson Fury? Will it happen, or is it just Tyson Fury trying to show respect for his idol? No, it won't happen. I think that team, what I've seen so far, I know Tyson Fury said many times that no, he would never fight Mike Tyson, blah, blah. But most recently, he was approached by a member of the team of Mike Tyson about having the exhibition fight. And Tyson Fury said, yeah, I'll definitely take that fight. But he hasn't heard anything since. So will that fight happen? I mean, it's possible, but unlikely. But it will be an exhibition. That means nothing serious. Tyson Fury will just jab and move around, and I think at the end he'll probably take a dive and let Mike Tyson win. You know, he'll fake like he's been knocked out by Mike Tyson, because he's got a lot of respect for Mike Tyson. He ain't going to put it on Mike Tyson to knock him out. I mean, he's named after him, so no, I don't think that that fight will happen, in my honest opinion. But big up anyway. Blackout, big up to you. Hey, Sport and Icons, can you give a shout out to my twin brother Dean? He listens too. Shout out to Dean. Big up to you, my man. Big up. Hope you're doing well. Unrivaled boxing talk and news, my man. How are you? Hope you're good. If you could interview any 3 men in boxing alive, which 3 would you interview and why? Oh God, there's so many that I'd like to interview. I suppose, I mean, with all the names that I have interviewed so far, Dillian Whyte, Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, Barry Hearn, and of course the list goes on and on and on. I've actually done, even though when I first started, I said I would never do interviews. When I was hovering around the 10,000 subscriber mark, I said, nah, I'm not interested in doing interviews too much. I know at that point I'd already done like a Dillian Whyte interview, but I was like, nah, I don't really want to do interviews. But since then, I've actually done 101 interviews. Bob Arum was my 101 interview. So that's not too bad, considering that I didn't want that after the Dillian Whyte one. I was like, you know, that's probably going to be about it for me. I'm not interested in going around to all the press conferences and whatever and interviewing fighters. And it's quite difficult to get hold of people as well. But I suppose if I had to choose 3, just 3 that I'd like to do, of course, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Is it possible? I mean, one day, sure, or maybe not. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they don't like me, or maybe they don't even know that I even exist. I don't know. But Anthony Joshua, I tried to interview him quite a few times, and his team kept giving me a bit of a runaround. I don't like talking about it, but it's the truth. They kept giving me the runaround, and it's nothing to do with Joshua. It's not his fault or anything like that. He'll be totally unaware of it, or maybe unless he told them to tell me to bugger off. I don't know. But to start with, they're all like, yeah, of course, we'll sort it out for you. Yeah, no worries. And then whenever the time came, oh yeah, sorry, Joshua, he's just decided to go over to Dubai for a holiday, but we'll arrange it once he gets back, and all this kind of thing. And there's always mucking around. And then sometimes they don't even reply, and other times it's a case of, well, the only kind of media that he's doing is Sky Sports and DAZN at the minute, but as soon as something comes available, I'll let you know, and they don't. So I don't know about the Anthony Joshua, but I would like to. Of course, Tyson Fury as well. The people who I was speaking to who represent Tyson Fury, not MTK, not Frank Warren or anything, or Bob Arum, but they wanted money. Said I can do it, no problem, but they wanted money. Not just a 30 or 50 quid, something like that, which I wouldn't pay anyway. I mean, I'd never pay anybody to come on my channel. You either do it out of the goodness of your heart to help me out, or to let me help you out, or not at all. But yeah, Tyson Fury's, his team wanted paying. Does Fury know about it? I don't know. So yeah, Joshua and Fury, I'd like to interview. A third person I'd like to interview, I'm actually working on it at the minute, which I kind of forgot about the last couple of weeks, so I will have to raise it again. Jimmy Tibbs. I'd like to interview Jimmy Tibbs, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I mean, there are other ones. I would like to interview Frank Warren. I would. Whether he'd do it, unlikely. Dan Dubois, why not? I wouldn't say no to a Deontay Wilder, and I would actually be quite open with him as well. As in, I mean, I'll be very honest with him, and I'll ask him some pretty hard questions, but I wouldn't be a dick. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be a complete prat about it. I would be very respectful. But no, I think the top three: Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Jimmy Tibbs, in any kind of order, just those three. So that's for me. Big plans, little drive, big up. What potential fight outside the heavyweight division are you hoping gets made soon? I think Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know why. I know I'm in a very, very small minority, but I've got a feeling Billy Joe's going to do it. I think he can beat him. I'd really like to see that fight. Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois. That's an interesting one. But again, he said outside the heavyweight division. Crawford and Spence, or Crawford and Pacquiao, or Spence Pacquiao. I'd like to see any of those three mix it up. But I think out of all of them, I think Canelo, me personally, Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. Or Billy Joe Saunders and Triple G. That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? But, or Boazzi versus Callum Johnson. No, actually, yeah, because I've done a video on this one earlier. Boazzi versus Anthony Yard, and then the winner goes fights Callum Johnson. I'll see that. So, yep, that's that. Richard Stanicone. Did I say that right? Sanan Ikone. Richard Sanan Ikone. Richard, hello. How are you? Hope you're good. Hope you're good. I'll see him a lot. It's a good guy. Does Alexander Usyk deserve to be mandatory after moving up from the undisputed cruiserweight champion? Does he really have a chance against AJ, who is taller, heavier, longer reach, younger and more experienced with a better resume? Just seems like a setup for failure for Usyk. Does he deserve to be mandatory? I mean, that's the rules, isn't it? If you're a champion with the WBO, much like Terence Crawford, he was champion for WBO when he was undisputed at 140. When he moved up to 147 to welterweight, he became mandatory to Jeff Horn, who was WBO champion. So that's kind of their rules. So it's not a surprise for me that he is mandatory, and if that's their rules, then that's fair play. And him being undisputed cruiserweight, I think he's deserves a shot at a world title. In some ways, you can argue not, because he's only had one fight at heavyweight, which is against somebody that I've never heard of before, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see what it is that people are saying about it. Does he have a chance against AJ, who's taller? Yeah, of course. I mean, AJ don't like fighting shorter fighters. If you notice that whenever AJ gets in trouble, at any points in the fights, it's always against shorter fighters. Against tall fighters, outside of the Klitschko one, where of course he did go life and death, he handles quite well. It's like he finds his range so much quicker, and he seems more like he's got more of a spring in his step when he's fighting the shorter guys like an Usyk. Not that Usyk is short. I mean, he's 6'4", you know, and who's the same height as Dillian Whyte, same height as Luis Ortiz in that as well. So he's not exactly tiny, but Joshua, he's got like a 2-inch height advantage, which isn't too much, and he's got a bit of a reach advantage. But I think Usyk is he's probably a better rounded boxer than Joshua. I don't think that like too many people will criticise me for saying that one, but he doesn't have the power of a Joshua. And can he trap Joshua and stop him? Because I don't know if he could beat Joshua on points. I don't know if he can. I think that Usyk can beat a lot of heavyweights on points, but I'm not too convinced that Joshua is one of them. But anyway, big up for that question. Roy P, hi Sporting. I was watching the interview with Mauricio Suleiman saying that White is the #1 contender, but that doesn't mean he's the #1 mandatory. If that's the case, what's the point of the ranking system, and do the rest of the sanctioning bodies do business the same way? That's from Roy P. Yeah, it's weird with the WBC. I mean, I suppose my question would be very, very simple. Then what's the point in having a ranking system? If your #1 is not the mandatory, and you can just choose any Tom, Dick and Harry from the top 15 to be your mandatory, then what is the point? For me, the #1 should at least be the one in the final eliminator. Ideally, #1 versus #2, and that will be the mandatory, right? And the WBC interim world heavyweight champion. So for me, I think that Mauricio Suleiman is talking out of his backside. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, when you look at it, the other sanctioning bodies, as you say there, do they do it? No. WBO, Alexander Usyk, is number 1, who is also the mandatory. In the IBF, Kubrat Pulev is number 1, who's also the mandatory. In the WBA, when there was a mandatory, currently there isn't, it was Alexander Povetkin, who was number 1 and the mandatory. So the WBC make up the rules as they go along, that is for sure. So that is all the questions. As I said, Nathan Kerr, your other question was answered in the previous video. Anyway, hopefully that didn't go on too long, 25 minutes, quite long, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much for your questions. If you want to be a channel member, link in the description box. Catch you all on the next one. Subscribe.